Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide.
Me today, and of course, I always want to start off with New York news and tell you what's going on. But I do want to start off with saying, unfortunately, that there has been a lot of killings in the Bronx over the past few months. And from what I'm hearing, things are not really being reported. So we don't know what's going on in our city. And as much as I don't like to expose that type of negative energy onto the screen and to you guys, we do need to know what's really going on in the Bronx, right where we live. So I'll be looking into that a little bit more further, and hopefully we can have some solutions instead of just dealing with the problems. But let's start with my first topic. The Earn While You Learn program looks to fix New York City's pandemic labor crisis. New York City's first Earn While You Learn program is set to begin in the West Bronx Hunter Ambulance next month, and the goal is to graduate 80 soon-to-be paramedics in the EMS workforce that is in the midst of a crisis-level labor shortage. They're accepting applications until July 10th. The program is eligible for New York City residents age 18 and older who have at least a high school diploma or GED. Trainees accepted into the program will be paid throughout the 10-week training course from July 26th to September 30th. Democrat Assemblyman Kenneth Burgos, who represents District 85, which encompasses the Hunts Point and Soundview sections of the Bronx, underscored the need for the program at a June 29th press conference. Last year and the years before that and moving forward, EMTs were on the front line and will continue to be on the front lines in our city. So a program like this is absolutely crucial, said Burgos. But unfortunately, we are in the poorest congregational district, and that's District 15 in the nation, actually. So when we're talking about recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, these are the type of programs that we want to see in our community and in our district. Much like the Bronx, New York City's EMS workforce is also attempting to recover from a pandemic that has resulted in a labor shortage that is at a crisis level. According to American Medical Response, a subsidiary of Global Medical Response and a major partner in the program, all training costs are covered, and upon successful completion of the program and obtaining their state certification, graduates are promoted to EMT-B with a competitive pay rate increase. According to American Medical Response, a subsidiary of Global Medical Response and a major partner in the program, all training costs are covered, and upon successful completion of the program and obtaining their state certification, graduates are promoted to EMT-B with a competitive pay rate increase. I had to say that twice. If you didn't notice, it came up twice. So just so that you know. But next, Fernandez announces $100,000 in funding to support anti-poverty initiatives as the third most densely populated county in the United States. The Bronx is also home to a 30% poverty rate. In fact, it's also one of the poorest counties in the country. With the pandemic hurting families financially this past year, people are now struggling more than ever. Sensing this, one lawmaker stepped up to the plate on June 16th, which is Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez, who is a Democrat. She announced the allocation of New York State funding to Children's Aid to support work being done in the Bronx to help low-income families combat poverty. One of the Bronx Impact signature programs is my.bronximpact.org, an online resource directory that lists more than 4,000 Bronx-based services and programs. Residents can get help in the neighborhood by entering their zip code and searching the terms. In 2020, let's repeat that, my.bronximpact.org supported the connection of more than 12,000 Bronxites to services in their area. And among the people who are on the front lines of fighting child poverty is Rose DeStefano. She's the Senior Director of Collective Impact of Children's Aid. DeStefano stated that her organization doesn't just hand out laptops and meals, but also deals with things at the policy level pertaining to digital equity, food access, and open space. According to DeStefano, poverty has plagued the Bronx, specifically the South Bronx, for several years, and a financial boost from Fernandez can help Children's Aid keep doing its job. Good news for you. And next we have New York City mayoral election is in the state of confusion. No kidding. Election officials retracted their latest report on the vote count, saying 135,000 test ballots were mistakenly counted. The Democratic primary for mayor of New York City was thrown into a state of confusion Tuesday when election officials retracted their latest report on the vote count after realizing that it had been corrupted by test data that was never cleared from a computer system. The bungle was a black mark on New York City's first mayor foray into ranked choice voting and seemed to confirm worries that the city's Board of Elections, which is jointly run by Democrats and Republicans, was unprepared to implement the new system. The disarray began as evening fell, and when the board abruptly withdrew the data it had released earlier in the day, purporting to be a first round of results from the ranked choice system. The data had indicated that Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, a former police captain who would be the city's second black mayor, had lost much of his lead and was ahead of former Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia by fewer than 16,000 votes. Then the Board of Elections tweeted that it was aware of a discrepancy on its report on ranked choice voting results. It didn't initially explain what that discrepancy was, even as it pulled the data from its website. So after this, I had to come in with Trump because you know that he has been arguing the fact that there was some issues with his votes. So Trump ties New York City mayoral mess to his 2020 plight, former President Donald Trump. And on Wednesday said nobody will ever know who really won the Democratic Party for New York City mayor after tabulation mistakes by election officials sent the race into chaos. Mr. Trump used the upheaval to renew unproven grievances about his 2020 loss and note that the frontrunner Eric Adams may not win the nomination, despite a clear lead before the city's deployed its new ranked choice system. The presidential race was a scam and a hoax with numbers and results being found that are massive, shocking, and determinative. Watch the mess you're about to see in New York City. It will go on forever. They should close the books and do it all over again the old-fashioned way. That's when we had the results that were accurate and meaningful, Mr. Trump stated, who is actually banned from Twitter. He said that in a written statement from his Save America Political Action Committee. The board also stated that they included about 135,000 additional test ballots in the count of real ballots, so they needed to do it over. They hope to release results on Wednesday, but the problem is eroding trust in the process and people who actually manage it. Sadly, it is impossible to be surprised. The last summer, BOE mishandled tens of thousands of mailing ballots during the June 2020 primary. It has also been prone to complaints of patronage, said Ms. Wiley, who dropped from second to third after the initial tabulation of ranked choice voting. Today, we have once again seen the mismanagement that has resulted in a lack of confidence in results, not because there is a flaw in our election laws, but because those who implement it have failed too many times. And next we have New York City is blocking tenants from using a free online tool to sue landlords. New York City has officially reinstated its pre-pandemic rules for tenants filing lawsuits against their landlords, and in doing so, has blocked New Yorkers from using a free online tool that made filing housing complaints easier. JustFix.nyc. Through the website, New Yorkers were able to file cases known as housing part actions for free, an HP action that can be filed when a landlord refuses to provide services or make repairs. The New York City court originally worked with JustFix to create this tool during the start of the pandemic. But after a recent decision from the New York City Housing Court, New Yorkers are now required to print and notarize the legal papers before submitting them to the court clerk. The $45 filing fee has also been reinstated and can be paid either in person or through the court's e-filing system, which is typically used by lawyers. The JustFix.nyc tool proved to be a popular pandemic solution to the crisis that New York's city renters faced this past year. Since its launch in April 2020, over 3,000 people have used it to file complaints against their landlords. The recent policy change made the Just Fix tool completely inoperable, and it has already been removed from the organization's website. So while landlords are allowed to use surveillance tools against tenants and housing applicants that are often inaccurate, tenants are left with antiquated systems to help protect themselves at home. But for now, tenants can apply for a poor person's relief to waive the $45 fee and can contact 311 to be connected to a free tenant lawyer for assistance. And in the Supreme Court, they leave CDC eviction moratorium in place. The Supreme Court is leaving a pandemic-inspired nationwide ban on evictions in place over the votes of 4 objective conservative justices. The court on Tuesday rejected a plea by landlords to end the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention moratorium on evicting millions of tenants who aren't paying rent during the coronavirus pandemic. Last week, the Biden administration extended the moratorium by a month until the end of July. It said then it did not expect another extension. The U.S. Judge Dabney Friedrich said in Washington that has struck down the moratorium as exceeding the CDC's authority, but put her ruling on hold. The High Court voted 5-4 to keep the ban in place until the end of July. In a brief opinion, Justice Brett Kavanaugh said he agreed with Friedrich's ruling, but voted to leave the ban on evictions in place because it's due to end in a month, and because those few weeks will allow for additional and more orderly distribution of the congressionally appropriated rental assistance funds. There we go. Also, last week, the Treasury Department issued new guidance encouraging states and local governments to streamline distribution of the nearly $47 billion in available emergency rental assistance funding. Chief Justice John Roberts and the court's 3 liberal members also voted to keep the moratorium in place. Justice Samuel Alito, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Garouche, and Clarence Thomas said they would have ended it. But the eviction ban was initially put in place last year to provide protection for renters out of concern that having families lose their homes and move into shelters or share crowded conditions with relatives or friends during a pandemic will further spread the highly contagious virus. By the end of March, 6.4 million American householders were behind on their rent. That's according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. As of June 7, roughly 3.2 million people in the U.S. said they had faced eviction in the next 2 months, according to the U.S. Census Bureau's Household Pulse Survey. And that is a lot of people. I'm hoping that this assistance will help them in making sure that they have a roof over their heads. And next, we're going to go outside of New York. Texas father shoots a peeping Tom after catching him performing a sex act outside his 10-year-old daughter's window. A Texas father has shot a peeping Tom who was seen masturbating outside the window of his 10-year-old daughter's bedroom. Police have stated that the husband and the wife, who have remained anonymous, heard their daughter scream from her room at around 10 p.m. on Sunday after she saw the man lurking outside their house in Houston. The girl's mother says she looks over at the window and that this guy is at her window. He took my daughter's innocence away. After they were alerted to the apparently intoxicated stranger, the couple, who are licensed gun owners, headed outside on 15,000 West Little York to confront him. The father ordered the man to lie down on their yard until police arrived, but he did not comply and fled across the street to a Valero gas station. There, the girl's mother held him at gunpoint as the father headed into the gas station to ask them to call 911. But the suspect then started wrestling with the mother for the gun, disarming her and pointing it back in the direction. The husband immediately ran outside and fired at the man outside of the fear for his safety of his wife. The mother said, "We didn't want this guy to get shot. We were waiting for the police to detain him because I'm pretty sure if he did this to my children, he's doing it to a lot of other children out here as well." So we are praying for the suspect, and we are also praying for his family. And Havers County deputies said that the man was shot by the father 3 times. He was taken to the hospital where he is in critical but stable condition. We're going to go on a commercial break. When we be back, I'll be with a special guest, Dr. Tori J. I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching Millennium TV 24.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
And welcome back to Millennium TV 24. And again, I always want to thank you for taking a good look in this news with me today. In our second segment, I have a special, beautiful guest by the name of Dr. Tori J, who is the founder of the Fatherless Generation Foundation. Oh my gosh, Dr. Tori J, hi.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm sorry we're laughing. You don't understand the connection and the love that we have between us. So it's a beautiful thing to have you here. I wanted to bring you on to talk about this organization, the Fatherless Generation Foundation, where I found you in Atlanta a long time ago. My son is now 22. He was, maybe 10 years old at that time.
11, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I was looking for just some assistance to help, my son become a man. And I found this beautiful woman. So Dr. Tori J, please give us some insight on what the Fatherless Generation Foundation is.
Well, the Fatherless Generation Foundation was started because I grew up without my father, and I found him at 31 years old. Now, that wasn't an easy journey, but it was something that I did, and I needed it because even at that age, I wasn't really who I needed to be. There were some things missing, and after you get to a certain age, you realize I'm missing something.
Yes.
And I was led to the fact that it was my father, and I know that that was divine. I was led to the fact that I was missing my father, so I went looking for him, found him, and built a nice and amazing relationship with him before he passed on. I had 2.5 years with him, but in that process, I knew that I needed to help others do the same thing that I was able to do by reuniting with my father. Changed my life, changed everything about who I was. I was in a different career path and found my way to this because of my relationship with my father. And now because of the Fatherless Generation Foundation, before COVID, we had 102 peer groups around the country, and that was what you and I were working with when it came to your son.
Yes.
And we only had one when you knew me. By COVID shutdown, we had 102.
Wow.
So now we're trying to get those relaunched, and we've helped over 55,000 children go through those peer groups, and now we've reunited over, 8,268 fatherless children.
Wow.
318, I think it is, 18 fathers.
Oh,
so somewhere in that number. I try to remember the numbers the best way I can, but yeah, when you met me, I was like, yeah.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful to hear the success, to see you growing and to see you continuing this passion that you have. I wanted to ask a question because Father's Day comes up, and I always talk about this. And Tori, just move back a little bit because I want to see your beautiful face. There we go. Okay. All right, make sure everybody sees that beautiful face. So Father's Day, women tend to celebrate Father's Day because they're a single parent. I'm so against that. And can you please just give me some insight on that and how it also reflects to the kids as well? Like, just like you said, you knew you were missing something. Let's be realistic. When there's not a father, there is something huge that is missing from that child. So can we talk about that? What's your feelings on that?
Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Moms, you can be the best mother you can be, but you cannot be mother and father. Number one, it's not in your capacity. God didn't build you that way. He didn't make you that way. I see a lot of mothers who, they get Father's Day cards and they put things out there about that. That's not. You find yourself being pulled outside of who you are, and you never really get to be the woman you are, even just the mother that you are, trying to be multiple roles. That's why so many single moms are exhausted and they're tired. And then the children get a weird perspective. They get a dysfunctional perspective of what a mother is supposed to be and what a father is supposed to be. Exactly. Mom, you're operating in masculine energy that is not supposed to be something that you're operating in. Yes, we have some of that. Yes, that's part of who we are as a DNA makeup. But you are not supposed to be that masculine.
Right.
Your sons grow up, they see you as the man and the woman, and then they see all of the amazing things you did for them, not knowing that you were tired, not knowing you were exhausted. And then it plays out in their relationships when they have an expectation that their women are going to do. And girls then grow up thinking they've got to be this strong superwoman, know it all, have it all, do it all, not knowing that their mother was exhausted, she was bipolar, she was dealing with depression, she was dealing with all of these things because you're masking all of this by saying, I am mother and father. No, you are not. You're just the best mother you can possibly be.
Thank you. You got tears in my eyes right now because it's so important. I don't want to degrade women. I am a woman. Yeah. I'm for my women, but let's be realistic. You cannot be a father and just be the best, like you said, mother that you can possibly be, and that is it. I mean, the statistics, I see 1 out of 3 children grow up without their biological father in their home. That's what you have on your website. 71% of fatherless children drop out of high school. 85% of the children who come from fatherless households exhibit behavioral disorders, making them 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorder. So you can sit there and say that you're the father all the time, and then when they grow up to become a teenager and you see that they're doing all of these things, it is because you're not a father.
And let me say this. So many mothers equate success of their children to their accomplishments. They do well in school. Oh, they grow up and they have great careers, but they've never checked into the emotional aspects. A lot of children do great in school, but have behavioral problems at school.
Right.
They're turning over tables. They got straight A's, but they're in there and they snap and they're turning over tables and they're in there going off on the teachers. That the child is looking for their father. The child is having issues with the imbalance and dysfunction within their households. And a lot of mothers aren't recognizing it because they're busy trying to raise their children.
Exactly.
And then let me also say this. A lot of the mothers can't recognize the dysfunction because it's the same one they grew up in.
Exactly. God, Dr. Tori, you hit that on the head. But give us one of your successful stories where a father gets involved with, meets his child.
Wow. Well, I will give the one, we just started doing videos and they're on YouTube right now. We did 4, one every week, so we did 4 for the month of Father's Day. And I'll give you Jamal's story. Jamal, he found out he was a father when his daughter was 7 years old. Someone saw a little girl and said, look, I know you dated that girl, and that little girl looks just like you. And so he later found out that was his daughter, but by the time he was engaging with her, the little girl was living with someone who he didn't know. It wasn't a family member, it was just some woman, and he thought she had adopted the little girl. And so he would spend time going back and forth, seeing his daughter, and his daughter wanted to live with him. And when his daughter wanted to live with him, the woman cut him off, but she was still getting child support. Crazy.
That's another thing. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, she was still getting child support from this man, but still would not let him see his daughter, even though his daughter wanted to see him. We got involved in the case. What we do is we get father's attorneys in their county or wherever that particular case is, and we got an attorney involved in the case, found out the lady didn't adopt the little girl. Little girl and her sister was just dropped off and she got guardianship. Wow. And it was a fight for the dad, but dad won primary custody of the daughter.
Yes.
Now the daughter now lives with him in Chicago, Illinois, because she's gone from Georgia to Chicago, Illinois. And the dad, in his video, he says, I didn't have a father or a mother. And her mother gave up on her, and I didn't want to give up on her. I wanted her to know someone fought for her.
Wow.
Change the narratives of fatherhood, knowing that dads are fighting for their children.
Yes, they are.
No. And this man had to go from Illinois to Minnesota to Georgia.
Wow.
And he kept going, and he couldn't figure out what to do, but he never gave up. He never gave up.
That is awesome. Now we talk about the positive, but I know that you've gotten a lot of negative backlash from the women because they think, that you're against them, like we just mentioned a little bit earlier. Give us some insight on that.
Well, even back when you were bringing your son to me, and you wrote a letter from a single mother. I will never forget that letter. A lot of women have put out there that I help fathers gain custody of their children, that they don't want to pay child support, so they get joint custody of their children. Just know, joint legal custody does not evade child support in any way. You're still paying, but at least you get to see and drive what you're paying for.
Right.
That's what that does. But a lot of women think that I am not about women's empowerment. They believe that I am not for my sisters. What I'm not for is the foolishness and the drama and the parental alienation and the withholding.
Yes.
You will hear stories. Just go to our YouTube. I just dropped a video this week. Single mom got a lot of things out of me. And what she really got was a shift in her mindset. I'm here for accountability, and I'm here for healing. That's who I am, because I can recognize the fatherlessness in you, even when you don't know that's what you're dealing with. And that's what I'm coming for single moms. They think that I'm here saying I don't like them and I'm not here to help them. I'm here to help you every bit as much.
Every bit of the way, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Y'all better understand this lady is here to help. Like she said, you're just not here for the foolishness, and they don't want to accept that. And that's the problem. So tell us what kind of services you provide.
So what we have is the groups that I talked about. We haven't fully launched those, so give me another 6 months or so to get those back into community centers around the country. We're going to do some virtual ones. We just have to get the virtual one here, or the main one here that's going to provide that spot secure. But I provide commitment to fatherhood for dads. If you are looking for your children, if you are trying to gain any custody rights, you've been alienated from your children, you can't see them. How about you were young or you were old and you made a mistake and you walked away from a situation and you want back in? I can help you get there. I can help you find a pathway there. And then I do coaching now. So I have Beyond Fatherless Coaching, where I'm coaching fathers in one situation, and then I have mothers in another, and then we have a co-ed group where I am coaching fatherless adults into their healing so that they don't repeat the patterns of the past. Not just the patterns of their parents, but some of them have been through divorce and brokenness and all of these things. And so it's time out. We have to be the curse breakers. And then we have tutoring, because what we learned was that prison pipeline is really dealing with children who they don't read, and they don't do well with reading and math. And most of them come from a fatherless home, Kimberly. And we provide that tutoring through Kumon, and we have 10 locations up along the East Coast. You'll have to look on our website to see where they are. But they give us 2 to 3 free coaching each semester for children that come through our program, in order to get them up to speed so that they are not that statistic you read earlier about being a high school dropout, because that's when it starts. And that's why they're already looking at the children from that place of prison pipeline and funneling them out into the prison system. We want to combat every possible social ill that you see on that list. I am here to break curses, not only in my own life, but in the lives of those that are walking around here that are fatherless, and I've had that same experience. That's who I'm here to be, and that's who I'm always going to be.
Can I just stand up and scream and shout for that? Yes, that's what we need in this world, Tori. Oh my goodness. What advice can you give the women who just are a little bit afraid and seeking some assistance, because they have that strong, I could do this all by myself?
I'm going to quote Zaina, because I put it on Facebook and on our Instagram today. We live in a world where there's so much, be positive and manifest this for your life, and come to this seminar and you can make 6 figures. Let me tell you what you can't do. You can't make 6 figures while you're still broken. You can't manifest what you want in life while you're still broken. And one of the things Zaina said is, you can do all of the manifestations that you want to, but you can't do it until you fix what's broken. And if you don't know what's broken or the root of it, how can you even get to do that? We have to fix the brokenness in order to manifest, ladies.
Absolutely.
And so we want to live in this place of manifestation. Yes, but let's fix the brokenness first.
Yes, absolutely. She said it. You heard it. Dr. Tori J. She is speaking some knowledge and she is telling the truth. We definitely have to fix the broken within inside us. You can't heal yourself. You can't heal other people. You can't do anything. You can't. You're just going to have this whole blockage. And that's where we need to start releasing all of that stuff. And then you're going to see the difference in your kids. You're going to see the difference in yourself. And that's like the best thing. You know, everybody say, yeah, I want to be this positive person for my child. But you still have all these issues that you're dealing with. Or I sacrifice all this for my kid. Yeah, but also you have to do it for yourself. Because if you're not feeling good, then your kids in return are not going to feel good. They're going to just have this, you know, fake facade up in front of them. And that's the problem, you know, because
and
you're
that
not.
happens a lot. That happens a lot to fatherless children. What we do is we pretend and we are in performance mode. But what happens is you find yourself in a place where you're dealing with personality disorders and borderline personalities because you're one person over here and one person over here. And you know, you've learned that because that's how you get approval growing up. That's how people look at you and say, oh, look at them, they're amazing, they're smart. But then you go home and you're depressed. And so many women are still dealing with their fatherless issues.
Absolutely.
But they won't even admit that they're fatherless.
Absolutely.
They say, well, I knew my father, girl. I knew my father.
It's a difference.
It's
It's a difference between knowing and having that relationship. A
Was
difference.
he active in your life and did he pour into you the things that you needed? One of my friends, Travis, said a quote that I will never forget. He said, I have to be present in my children's lives so that I can pour into the parts of me that are in them, the good in them.
I know that time is running out. We could talk for hours and hours, but please let them know how they can help donate, because I'm sure you can, you know, always use those services, how they can reach out to you to get your assistance and your beautiful knowledge. Please let them know.
All right, you can go to tfgf.org or you can call 1-888-407-7990. And those are the ways that you can reach out and get the services that you need. There's an intake form online that you can actually fill out and we can get it and know exactly how we may be able to help you. And if I can't help you and my services can't help you, trust me, we have resources that can.
Exactly. And that's all. You just have to reach out. Don't be afraid. Reach out. I'm telling you, you are not alone in this situation. Let your guard down. Let it go. Give all that up. Give all that anger up. Give all that resentment up. Give it up and let it out. You'll see the difference. Dr. Tori J., I appreciate you. I have to go into a commercial break. I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching Millennium TV 24. And we will see you next time. Thank you. Looks like there's still a little delay. We're still here. We're going to go into a break in just a second. That's right, the Fatherless Generation Foundation, Dr. Tori J. Evans. I don't know what's going on.
It doesn't want to let us go.
It sure doesn't. If we want to talk, we could talk for more, but I know that I only got about 10 more minutes to the whole show, so but we could definitely talk.
Oh, man.
Are you still based in Atlanta?
Yes, but I've been living in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, okay. And again, as you see, she helps everyone globally, so please make sure you
Yeah,
understand.
we have offices in 7 cities that we're opening back up, but we have a global reach. Yeah.
Got it, got it. All right, Dr. Tori J. Evans, and the website again is www.tfgf.org. That's the Fatherless Generation Foundation. Is there any last thing you want to say to anybody else while we still here? I guess this is our little reunion, I guess, you know, since we didn't get to see each other personally the last time you were up here. We didn't get to see each other, so I guess they making up for lost time.
Yes. And no, actually, I didn't make it into New York City. Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Made me turn around.
Got it. Was it the weather?
No, girl. I got an Airbnb, and they were gentrifying. And I woke up with some roaches all in my car.
Oh, what? No way.
Trying to find warmth, and I parked next to an abandoned house.
Are you serious?
Really, right?
Oh my.
They had bugs.
Oh.
And I was walking to my car, and I'm watching them. There's a trail going to my car, and I get my car, and they're all in the.
Oh gosh, I would have died. I
said, I am not going to New York. I'm frustrated. I'm headed back. I was inching my way up on tour. That's what I was. Yeah, I was on tour. I drove straight to Charlotte, North Carolina from there.
Talk about the tour while we still on. If they cut us off, then they cut us off.
Well, I did a tour in 2019 called I've Got Daddy Issues, where I helped you walk through what your father wound looked like, identifying it, and then going through how you got there, and then we began to do the work of just getting you through the process of healing. And we had therapists on site and things of that nature that help people through that process. And so we learned a lot during that. I'll do it again. I'm going to do a retreat in 2022 in Sedona, Arizona.
Arizona.
I love Sedona. I fell in love with Sedona about 3 months ago.
I've drove through there, but I've never actually been through there.
Oh, Sedona? I had an awakening. Like, they have these vortexes. I don't believe in a lot of stuff. Like, some of this stuff, I'd be like, no. But this, I felt it.
Wow.
I felt it.
Really?
It was like the biblical, they climbed up the mountain and you speak, And I want people to really get their wholeness in this process. We're missing that. That's what we're missing, Kimberly. We don't have our father, so we're missing the emotional and the spiritual part and the other parts of development that we didn't get.
That is super important. And just to go back, to my upbringing, I was very close to my biological father up to the age of 12 years old. And then, he found a woman, and the woman was jealous of our relationship because I am his only child. And so he disappeared, and I don't know where he's at. I do still pray that he is well. I don't have any negative energy towards him because that only blocks my blessings. I really wish that, if we do reunite, that it's going to be a beautiful moment, and I'm sure it will be. But then, my mother met a man, and he married her and adopted me, Clive Seabrook, and that's how I became Seabrook. But those issues, that was hard because when that man came into my life, my biological father left out of my life. So I was like, well, whatever. Yeah, I'll take him, man. That's my father. I'll take his last name, blah, 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 because I was mad at my biological father anyway. So, but then I grew to actually love the man, and he passed away in 2008. But a great man. But man, that was tough. That was tough being without my father, and then getting some new man who's called my father.
Like he's your father.
Exactly.
And that's what we have to recognize, that even in some of the relationships when we don't walk through the healing, your dad left at 12. Many of us are stuck at that age when our fathers leave. It's called arrested development. We're stuck. And we're stuck developmentally, and we're stuck in our relationships. So when we get into conflicts in relationships, we show up as a 12-year-old.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely right. Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for so many things. And even when my son just turned 22, that's the age that I had him. And I sat on his birthday thinking, like, how was I 22 years old and having a child? Like, I was nowhere near mentally or emotionally. We're not talking about financially, because those things, you just make it happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. But emotionally and mentally, when I sit back and I think about it, like, and then all the choices that I made after I had him, like, I messed up big time. I wasn't perfect. Like, I did great. I did good, but I messed up big time. Like,
well, one of the reasons you did the best that you could do is because you reached out for help.
Exactly.
You reached out for help. You were looking for help. And I remember working with you. You were always looking for the best things you could get did. You were always that person. So that's why.
Always kept them busy.
Surrounding yourself in that way, and then you provide the children with what they need as a supplement. It's not perfection. It's not going to give them everything they want that their father can't give them, but it's the best that they can have right now until their
Right.
father shows up and is active. You
Exactly.
did that. You did that.
I did. I didn't know what else to do. I knew that there was something missing. And I knew that I couldn't provide that missing thing. I am not his father. I am his mother. So if I can't provide what he's needed, then I try to find other resources or even other men. I thank God, I call this man my brother, Frank Hart, who took him under his wing and took him to basketball practice or football when I was working 2 jobs or 12-hour shifts, and those are the things that you have to look at. It's a community. And I don't use the term single. I stopped that like so long because I'm not a single mother. I have so many people in my life to help me raise my son to the man that he is today.
That's
And
a whole nother.
yeah,
That's the problem with so many women. I'm around a lot of women, I'm a woman, so I'm around women. And what I learned is, this village concept that we're all supposed to have. But ladies, you have no men in the village. You got all women.
all women.
So wondering why your boys and your girls, because girls need fathers just as much as boys do. I know we always trying to equate it to just one over the other.
Exactly.
There's no men in the village.
Exactly.
Where's the men in the village? You want to be in the village, but where are the men in your village? Have you run them away? Where are they?
And you heard it. I just got notification that we actually are taking a real break this time. But that was perfect. Dr. Tori J, again, I love you so much. I thank you for being a guest and just being a huge part of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going on break. For real this time, Kim Seabrook on Millennial TV 24. Thank you for staying in. And 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Millennium
There we
TV,
go.
Bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
All right, welcome back to Millennial TV 24, and let's continue to take a good look in the news. That was such a beautiful segment with Dr. Tori J. But in Massachusetts, a teen accused of killing demon father by baptizing him in a pond. On Monday, a 19-year-old man, Jack Callahan, was being accused of killing his father, Scott, in Duxbury, Massachusetts, because Jack said evil spirits possessed his dad, and that's according to the prosecutors. The two men were reportedly taking an Uber ride from a Boston bar to their home in Duxbury, Mass. And Scott was said to be drunk. Jack wanted to take a detour to Crocker Memorial Park and use the Uber's driver's phone to contact his mother, Wendy, about the alternative route. Scott was reportedly offered by his religious 19-year-old son to be baptized. Prosecutors said Jack reportedly suffers from mental health issues, and he was trying to exorcise his father's demonic spirits, one of whom he referred to as Dirty Dan. It was Monday when Wendy called the police on her son, who came back home in wet clothes without Scott. She reported Scott as missing, and when police came to visit Jack, they noticed he was in a mental state of hyperventilating. And in the investigation for Scott, police spotted the father's unresponsive body along with his 2 luggage carry-ons and items that belonged to Jack. Police asked Jack what happened that day, and the teen's response was that he had blacked out on most of what happened, but recalls that his father had a demon look in his eyes before he passed away in the pond. Scott was pronounced dead after taken to the hospital. An autopsy report showed water in his lungs and an abrasion on the back of his head. Scott had previously been treated for his alcoholism at a treatment center. He went on to state in this incident at the pond that he believed he was baptizing his father. He describes that he was holding his father in the pond on his back like a baby. Prosecutor Shahan Buckman said that he continually dunked the father's head in the water about 4 to 8 times when the father started to fight and strike him. He then pushed his head back down into the water. He did so until his father was no longer struggling. A judge ruled in favor of Buckingham's request that Jack be held without bail until August 12th, where he will be scheduled to appear in court. And the next story, we're going to go into a positive one. A father and son are working to bring a large film studio to Memphis, Tennessee. One of the biggest Black-owned film studios may be constructed in Memphis, Tennessee. The Land Use Control Board approved the development of 85 acres of land to build the BLP Film Studios. According to BLP Film Studios website, it was established more than 10 years ago because when Jason Farmer's son, Jason A. Farmer, showed interest in making films. Through supporting his son, the elder Farmer became passionate about building the new film production and content creation company. Additionally, Jason A. Farmer studies filmmaking at Morehouse College in Atlanta. As his skills building materialize, the Farmers are already making major moves to transform Memphis into an entertainment destination, which would include employment opportunities. That's what we need. Then when a film production comes into town, about 60% of that money is spent on a local economy. So if a $5 million project comes here, $3 million will be spent locally for things like hotel, travel, tourism, and catering. And Jason Farmer said that the full city council will need to greenlight the project. If the final goal is achieved, construction could begin in the fall. The courage to take action is a building block in business. And in 2019, IndieWire wrote about Tyler Perry's opening of his $250 million Atlanta studio, which was a former 330-acre military base. It meant that there were Confederate soldiers on that base plotting and planning on how to keep 3.9 million Negroes enslaved. And now that land is owned by one Negro, Perry said in a BET speech. So while you're fighting for a seat at the table, I'll be down in Atlanta building my own. According to the Inside Edition, Perry is the very first Black individual who is the owner and head of a major film studio. Perhaps Perry's accomplishment can fuel the dreams of more African Americans like the Farmers who want to shape a new narrative beyond Hollywood. Yes. And what else do we have? Oh yes, an innovative food festival is coming to Houston this August. Food festivals are a blast. Trying a variety of yummy bites, chatting with the chefs who made them, hanging out with the friends in an easygoing atmosphere. And what's not to like? It turns out that behind the scenes, the food festivals aren't nearly as fun for chefs, and in many cases, they end up losing money by participating. But a first of its kind food festival called Commune from Indie Chefs Community, ICC, is looking to change that. The Houston, Texas Food Festival is set to run from August 21st to September 5th, 2021. Ticket pre-sales for ICC mailing list subscribers launch on July 1st, with general ticket sales beginning on July 6th. Commune is an experiential dining compound that will be home to degustation, pop-ups, collaborative dinners, classic roundtable discussions, and a street market experience. The self-proclaimed anti-food festival, which was designed to keep chefs in mind, to end the Commune will cover all participation costs for chefs, including travel, lodging, and the food they prepare. That is awesome. Additionally, the festival will offer a revenue share model for restaurateurs, hosting marquee events that will require them to close their brick and mortar establishments to staff and participate in activations. Giving back to the community, championing social justice, and addressing systematic issues facing the hospitality industry are other key missions. To accomplish this, Commune will donate 50% of net proceeds of all sales from the first week of the festival to Chefs Stopping AAPI Hate. Festival organizers have placed an emphasis on spotlighting a diverse range of talent of the more than 200 participating chefs. 45% self-identify as female and 40% self-identify as BIPOC. But I think we're going to end this right now. It's almost time to close this up. My name is Kim Seabrook. You're watching Millennium TV 24. And thank you for taking a good look. We'll see you next time.